There is a territory that merges the essences of Europe and Africa. This is a land that harbors environments of both continents. Its combination of ecosystems, its varied climate and special location make it a hotspot for the animals that best symbolize freedom and beauty: birds. Spain is this place, and for many of these birds it is a paradise between two worlds. Spain, a paradise between two worlds. Located in the south of Europe, Spain sits on a strategic site from a biogeographical and environmental point of view. It is the last point southbound migrants from northern Europe leave in autumn, and the first point northbound migrants from Africa reach in spring. Its ecosystems are rich and varied. It is the European Union country boasting most Natura 2000 sites, the conservation scheme making up Europe's biggest network of protected sites. In all, therefore, it is an unmatchable territory for birds. Witness the fact that it is home to over 600 species throughout the year. Late summer marks the start of a new cycle for birds. For year-round residents, late August and September is a fairly laid-back period. For migrants, it is the starting pistol of a race for survival. Spain's strategic location, spanning two continents, makes it a crucial destination for millions of birds that bred in the north and center of Europe and now need to winter in Africa. Spain is therefore a key stopover point on their migratory journey, lasting from mid-August to early October. From thousands of kilometers away, they come streaming into Spain. Here, they will rest up for a bit and replenish stocks before crossing the Strait of Gibraltar on their journey to Africa. A real tour de force. Migration is a harsh, danger-strewn challenge, but Spain offers countless spots where the wary travelers can find shelter and take on fuel. The first wave of southbound birds checks into the northern part of Spain. The salt marshes of Victoria and Joyelle are a godsend for migratory birds. The coastal environments are visited frequently by a whole host of birds. Villaviciosa offers invertebrate-rich mudflats where waders can fatten up on their favorite food. Common sandpipers, greenshanks, spotted redshanks are only some of the many species that find food in this nature site. They've got to build up their strength and energy stocks for the long onward journey. In all of Spain's wetlands, They feed eagerly. This common sandpiper has even taken on a frog. All these traveling birds join up with those that are bred in Spain and are now also heading for Africa to spend winter there, such as the Egyptian vulture and lesser kestrel. They have to feed non-stop. This is a roller that bred in Spain's Grassland area. This insect is a major protein and energy input that will now stand it in good stead for its imminent odyssey to Africa. In Spain's inland lakes, thousands of swallows and martins throng together in spectacular flocks to roost and rest up on their migration epics. The journey goes on. There are busy moments of non-stop activity. Little by little, they work their way southwards, stopping to rest in a host of different spots. They rely on memory and magnetic fields, orientation skills that are stranger than fiction. To the south of the Iberian Peninsula, at the southern tip of Europe, most birds are faced by one of their most demanding and sinew-straining tests, the Strait of Gibraltar. Almost all of them have managed to reach this spot alive, but they now have to cross 14 kilometers of open sea. Strong winds here are common. If they are blown down into the water, this would spell certain death. Millions of birds make this epic crossing, but they have to choose their moment well. A booted eagle patrols the coast, weighing up the situation. The time's not right, yet. This flock of black kites think likewise, and double back inland to wait for the wind to drop. Today, none will make the crossing. Resident birds, however, are blithely indifferent to these migratory ordeals. While migratory birds wait restlessly for the right moment to make the crossing, birds that stay year-round in Spain have a fairly easy time of it in late summer and early autumn. At last, conditions have improved in the Strait of Gibraltar. The crossing is on. A stork strikes out, and the sky livens up. For them, it's the ultimate endurance test. The post-breeding passage over the strait lingers on until October. A month of weather changes both on mainland Spain and the Balearic Islands. On the Canary Islands, however, lying to the northwest of Africa, these weather changes are imperceptible. There lives a priceless ornithological gem, the endemic blue chaffinch, freshening up here in a natural fountain. On this archipelago, there's an island where a jungle of prehistoric origin has managed to hang on. The laurel woods of Laurisilva. On this island of La Gomera live other endemic Canary Island birds, like the white-tailed laurel pigeon and the dark-tailed laurel pigeon. Living in an almost tropical environment, these birds are blithely unaware of seasonal changes. Unlike back on mainland Spain, where autumn is now making its presence felt, the lush woods of Somiedo and Muñellos are now a riot of color. Autumn is also evident in the Pyrenees. And the woods are now rife with their succulent fruits. Birds are quick to cash in. A blackbird and blackcap gorge themselves on rowan berries. The beech woods of the Sierra de la Demanda are stunning too. These wood-shrouded hills are home to various woodpecker species. The green woodpecker turns over the undergrowth soil in search of insects. The great spotted woodpecker is an ant lover. These woods are also home to Europe's biggest woodpecker, the black woodpecker. In autumn, the skies boil with rage. The weather worsens. For the birds that live in Spain, this poses no real problem. But it is certainly a challenging situation for species living further north in Europe, where winters are much harsher and food stocks plunge. For these birds of northern Europe, Spain becomes a place to spend the colder months. From the north and center of the European continent, new waves of birds flood south. Most of these will spend the rest of autumn and winter in Spain without moving on to Africa. From November onwards, Spain's skies resound with a wonderful din of dissonant bugling. 250,000 cranes will cross the Pyrenees. The vast majority drop into Gallo Canta for a rest. A sizable number of them will then pass the cold months feeding up in the surrounding countryside. The rest spread out around many different spots in the rest of the Iberian Peninsula. With the cranes come millions of other birds that find higher chances of surviving the winter in Spain. Cormorants, geese, ducks are Spain's wintering birds. In this case, the north of Spain becomes the check-in point, many of them staying there afterwards. The intertidal complex of Umia o Grove welcomes thousands of waders, seabirds, and ducks and geese, which feed and find shelter in its various habitats. The creeks are invaded by huge flocks of smaller shorebirds, middling-sized waders like the grey plover, larger waders like redshank and greenshank, plus even larger water birds like spoonbills. Ducks like widgeon and chevalure also turn up at this time. Winter arrives. Hordes of birds continue to stream in. Spain's sea and coast might seem harsh in winter months, but for birds from Europe's northern coast, they represent a warm refuge. Skimming the coasts of northern Spain, seabirds spread out around the three seas that surround the whole Iberian Peninsula. Cabo Peñas is a famous headland and vantage point that seems to defy the Cantabrian Sea. From there, sea watchers can enjoy the sea in its wildest state and marvel at the flying skills of its denizens. These are gannets and will winter on our seas, nose-diving into the water to catch fish. Guillemots also spend autumn and winter off Spain's northern coasts, rubbing shoulders with scoters and razorbills, which also spread out around the whole Mediterranean Sea. For animals that spend the whole year in Spain, winter is a stiff test too. Livestock are no exception. A sheep carcass is soon spotted from the skies. Spain boasts Europe's biggest vulture populations. This is the sound of death. The mighty Cinereus vulture has a stunning 3-meter wingspan. On occasions, winter gets really wrathful. After the blizzard, the mountain seems smitten with cold. The national parks of Picos de Europa, Ordesa, and Sierra Nevada all play their part. Birds have to find a way to survive this inclement weather. Finding food is essential to fend off the cold. The middle spotted woodpecker inspects the trunks for larvae. The blue tit, the nuthatch, and the blackcap all forage for autumn's last pickings. The alpine accentor waits it out stoically. But the winter sun always peeps out in the end, and other star terns take to the skies. This is the Pyrenees' marquee species, the lammergeier. It is the only animal in the world that feeds exclusively on bones. Its stomach's degree of acidity is unmatched in the animal kingdom, meaning it can easily digest whole bones. But there's another bird that also devours an unwanted ingredient. We are now in Europe's most important national park, Donana. Water birds flock here in tens of thousands. For geese, Donana is a Garden of Eden. Among other reasons because they need the coastal dunes to survive. Every winter dawn, a unique event takes place. From various points of the park, flock after flock flies into the dunes, gathering there in their thousands. Their calls can be heard from kilometers away. They are there to take on grit, an essential ingredient for their digestion process. Once they have swallowed a small amount of sand, they wing back to the salt marsh. There they mingle with vast rafts of coots and ducks, herons. Winter is drawing to its end. Many wintering birds, in a feeding frenzy, are eking out their last days here before flying back to their breeding grounds in the north of Europe. Spain has greatly helped to shorten their odds of survival. The wintering birds that have flown down to Spain from northern Europe are on the move. Many have managed to survive, but the final test remains: the return journey. The dahasas are a typical open grazing wood that are unique to the Iberian Peninsula. At the end of February, they come alive with song and calls. The cranes are especially frisky and vocal. They'll soon be off to the north, but first they need to feed up well, their main fodder being acorns. They first set the acorns up in the right place, hack them into smaller pieces, and then swallow them. This is a young crane born last spring. It is now girding its loins for the upcoming journey. This will be the last time it will accompany its parents. The northern wetlands now fill up with ducks and geese that have wintered throughout the whole Iberian Peninsula and are now on their way back to the center and north of Europe. Pochards and teal rest and feed up and begin their courtship displays. For all these ducks, this will be their last stop in Spain on the way back to their breeding grounds. But some birds never get there, falling prey to other birds that are also striving to survive. Wheat birds are also the favorite prey of marsh harriers. Aloof to these daily dramas, the cranes are now leaving the dahasas. They are heading for the lake of Gallocanta. They'll get there by dusk. Next day, the sun's first rays pick out a unique scene. 60,000 cranes about to take to the skies. And the show begins. Winter ends and new instincts awaken. Although it has already paired off, this male red-legged partridge continues to sing, announcing its success and warning off any pretenders. Spring has begun and the countryside bedecks itself with flowers. Pre-breeding passage is now underway. The birds that crossed the Strait of Gibraltar southward to winter in Africa are now returning northwards. This pair of Egyptian vultures has made it. Both were born in Spain and have come back to breed here in their turn. Hard by the Strait of Gibraltar is Donana. This is a place that draws in a host of birds. The wetland called Cañada de los Pájaros is a sanctuary for many wild birds, while its captive breeding program is a bastion of hope for many endangered species. The marble teal gratefully returns here year after year. The Cañada de los Pájaros is considered to be the best spot in Europe for this species in danger of extinction. April is the month when bird activity peaks. On the coastline of the Canary Islands, birds with a call like a baby wailing have just got back from distant zones of the Atlantic Ocean to breed here. Cory's shearwaters prefer to fish in a team effort and wait for their partners. Here they come. The dolphins push the fish upwards where the shearwaters are waiting to plunge downward. There's no way out. Far away from here, in the steppe-like grassland and arable fields of Spain, Europe's heaviest flying bird is on display. Some great bustards begin to strut. This is the male's way of attracting his mate, strutting about for weeks on end in leks until a female falls under his spell. The breeding instinct enlivens the woods, too. The cry silences the din. For many birds, it is a well-known and deeply unsettling sound. It is a female goshawk eating prey caught by the male. She is grateful and cries out her thanks. Food gifts are a common pair bonding tactic among many species of bird. Well into April, color surges from the ground, but it also falls from the skies. The rainbow-hued bee-eater comes back from Africa every spring. Like many birds, it was born here and comes back every year to prolong its lineage. Food gifts are also a crucial part of its mating ritual. Insects of all types make up the pretender's presence. Fair dues. Human constructions can also be breeding sites. The lesser kestrel, likewise back from Africa, returns to the same rooftops every spring. Little owls, spotless starlings, and lesser kestrels find their home and food in Spain's villages and towns, helping to control rodent plagues and combat cropland pests. The rollers are back too. They've chosen a very cozy artificial nest site. Envy exists in the bird kingdom too. This pair of spotless starlings knows the nest box already has its owners, but can't resist provoking them. First, it checks the intruder is not inside. The starlings' desire to taunt seems limitless. They mock the rollers under their very noses. When the male roller thinks the baiting has at last come to an end, he still has to watch some nest material being nicked. At last a lull. The male sidles up to the female with a little gift. He'll do so repeatedly to show off his hunting skills, and she pays him back with her favors. The crop fields are growing up. The countryside is now in its heyday. Amidst the stunning color, one bird wants to stand out. The little bustard always returns to the same displaying leks. Not 1 meter more, nor 1 meter less. High grass may thwart its attempts to attract the female, so it jumps up to make sure it's visible. But this also makes it visible to more dangerous onlookers. The peril is past, back to the business in hand. In the lake of Fuente de Piedra, to the south of the Iberian Peninsula, the water takes on a pink tinge. Flamingos flock here in huge numbers to breed. It is Spain's biggest breeding colony and Europe's second biggest. For other water birds, the miracle of life has already occurred. The mallard chicks will always file along in their mother's wake until they're big enough to fend for themselves. The black-winged stilt chicks are a bit savvier. Nonetheless, when danger lurks, chicks and mother become a single body. The danger passes and everything returns to normal. Summer hits hard, though it is somewhat milder on the northern coast. In the salt marshes of northern Spain, the mute swan's princes have been born. On upland streams, the dipper works hard to bring up its young. To ensure the protection of its young, it has built its nest behind a teeming curtain of water, passing through it like an arrow. And there, in a solid stone bunker whose entrance is a waterfall, its chicks wait. The summer sun blazes in its fierce splendor. The night, however, always comes into its own. This is the moment that other birds are waiting for. The red-necked nightjar feeds its chicks on moth paste. These birds, equipped with perfect night vision, find their safety in the darkness. But it is not the only bird that specializes in hunting under the cover of night. The eagle owl is Europe's biggest nocturnal raptor. Its voracity and might have made it the terror of the night. It is capable of effortlessly swallowing a whole rabbit's head. The scenery is changing. Ochre now predominates. The heat is punishing, especially in the open grassland. Even in Spain's most inhospitable zones, birds manage to eke out a living. Although the pin-tailed and black-bellied sandgrouse hardly drink during the rest of the year, in high summer they have to drop into the few remaining water sources. They are hardy, forbearing birds, one of a kind. As the grassland birds slake their thirst at the hottest time of the year, a new king raises its voice in the vast Mediterranean woodland. It's the chick of a Spanish imperial eagle, a species that lives only in this landscape. At the height of summer, it finally leaves its parents. Soon, it will live through its first autumn, witnessing a new cycle, a new wave of migrants passing through its territory. It will likewise live through the winter, when millions of birds seek better chances of surviving this harsh season in Spain. And then the spring, the season of hope for hordes of birds from Africa and those that live here all year round. Spain is a hybrid territory between Europe and Africa, providing a home for millions of birds from both continents. Its diverse climate and heterogeneous landscape make it a matchless destination for birds. Because Spain is a paradise between two worlds.